Right America. Shoot us an email, give us a call. We're taking them live tonight. We're talking about cars, trucks, motorcycle accidents, really any kind of personal injury case. So if y'all got any questions, give us a shout.
Yeah, I think we have an email question to get us started off, to kind of kick it off. Let's see if we can put that up on the screen. My daughter and I were hit on a crosswalk. I have a fracture on my knee, awaiting surgery. Daughter had a concussion, fractured bone on skull, no surgery required. I was told by the doctor I won't be able to use my leg for 12 weeks and might need a knee replacement down the road. Should I try to settle with the insurance company? Talk to a lawyer who would take the case for 33%, but will we be able to cover everything if the lawyer takes 33%, as I'm not sure what the other driver's limits are? What are my alternatives? And that's Marlon. And sounds like Marlon had a pretty major motor vehicle accident. Unless that's the kind of situation where it's actually imperative to have somebody on your side and assisting with not only the liability situation, but the health coverage and making sure all those benefits are correlated. I mean, talk about some of the issues that you have to navigate there.
You know, one of the first things Marlon brought up was the fact of the attorney fee that's being charged, and you know, why is it 1/3 of the recovery? And I think if I'm a consumer, if I've been involved in a personal injury case and I don't practice law, I don't know what I'm doing with these claims, I probably want to know what do I get for that?
Right.
And so, you know, one of the big things we talk a lot about, you know, how you should hire an attorney anytime you've had an injury claim. And it's so much more than just, you know, sending a letter to the insurance company and finding out what's going on. There's a lot that attorneys do to help maximize the value of your claim. In fact, the data suggests that attorney represented claims versus claims being represented where the person is helping themselves, that those claims where an attorney is involved typically will get 3 to 5 times more of the recovery than a person would get if they try to represent themselves. But there's a lot of factors. We have policy limit factors. You don't know how much insurance the other person has. But even if you make the recovery and, you know, let's say you get the maximum amount of insurance coverage there is out there for your injury, there still may be obligations to pay health insurance liens. There may be obligations to reimburse some of the medical providers for the treatment that you've received. And so, you know, as an attorney, one of the things we do is we negotiate not just on the front end with the insurance company to try to get the most money possible, but then we also try to negotiate on the back end with the insurance companies that may provide health benefits. Some doctor's offices, we want to make sure they coordinate your health insurance, your auto insurance, the different types of coverages that you might have that can help offset those medical expenses. And so if you look at it, the fee really should be, I mean, I know it's an important factor, but it's probably one of the least concerning things that a person should have, but I certainly understand Marlon's concern.
And one of the benefits there is it's not like most attorneys, if you to get in to see their office, you're going to have to pay a retainer, an hourly rate, and things like that. But where in the personal injury arena, it's purely contingent, and not only on the fee aspect of it, but also any costs that are expended in order to pursue and prosecute the case. Because when you're talking about a case like of the description with the injuries you're talking about, Marlon, in your email, you got to look at all options. Nothing can be left off the table. We have to make sure. Florida follows what's called the dangerous instrumentality doctrine, so we got to make sure, is there a different driver than owner of the vehicle? Because in Florida, the owner, not under a negligent entrustment theory, but under a strict liability theory, has essentially co-liability with the driver of that car. So you got to look and see are there different policies there. Was the driver working for somebody? You know, Les, we see this more frequently now than ever with folks doing Uber, Lyft, different ride shares, food delivery, you name it. There's a lot of people that are driving around at what look like normal private passenger vehicles that are actually on the job. So you have to check that. You have to confirm that. You have to look into every angle to see, and that's just looking at the other person's insurance. We also have to look at your own personal insurance as well as any insurance for your household of any blood relatives, because there could be underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage, which is extremely critical and important in the state of Florida.
Yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, you know, a 1/3 contingency fee, that's actually the standard contingency fee in Florida. It's actually, the Florida Bar has establish that that is considered the reasonable fee, because again, lawyers don't get paid by the hour doing this type of work. What we do, we take a case not knowing if there's going to be any recovery. We still work them the same. We still investigate them the same. We still spend money to investigate, get medical records, speak with expert witnesses, consult with doctors, with really no guarantee there's going to be any sort of a return on the amount of time and money we put out. And so there's a risk for the lawyer as well, but that's the way the system works. What that does is it enables people that may not have the ability to pay an attorney on an hourly basis. That allows them to have competent, expert, legal, analysis. But the trade-off is, well, you're going to take that risk. I'm going to pay you for taking that risk, but otherwise, I'm not having to come out of pocket if I don't get anything. If the lawyer doesn't get anything, then the lawyer doesn't get paid, and so that's the trade. But yeah, Marlon. Any sort of a pedestrian struck by a vehicle has the tendency to yield some pretty serious injuries. It is imperative that you speak with an attorney. It may be that there's not enough coverage, but somebody who is handling those types of claims can certainly advise you as to what your best options are.
Right, and to make sure that we have seen situations where individuals try to do that on their own, and then they don't realize that any money that has been kicked in by their health insurance to help satisfy those bills, there's typically what's called a subrogation lien and interest for that. And so that's something that you have to take care of and make sure those benefits are coordinated. And that's one of our job as a personal injury attorney is not only to maximize the benefit that we can get from the person that caused the accident, but it's also to minimize any money that has to be paid out with respect to liens, medical expenses, et cetera, so that we can help you net the largest amount of money at the end of the day, so that you can, because there's going to, even after the settlement, there's going to be things that you're going to have to deal with and need, and it's important that you have resources at your disposal to give you access to those things.
Yeah, and for those of you out there that have certain types of insurance that are government forms, TRICARE, VA, Medicare, Medicaid, those entities that pay your medical expenses, even if it's due to a motor vehicle wreck, if you make a recovery from the at-fault party or their insurance company under federal law or state law, whichever one regulates the type of coverage you have, it is mandatory that you maintain and keep their interests, protected. And I can't imagine a worse feeling that somebody says, well, I don't need a lawyer. This is pretty cut and dry. The insurance company is going to pay me X, and that's all they have, and I know that's all they have. And then they get the money and they spend the money, and then it usually takes 3, 4, 5, 6 months, maybe even a year in cases like TRICARE or Medicare. Then you get that letter, then you get that phone call.
Right.
Where's our money?
Right. And we're going to suspend benefits.
And we're going to suspend your benefits, and we're not going to provide anything because you owe us under the Medicare Secondary Payer Recovery Act to have protected our interests, and you didn't do it. So that's the other thing that having a lawyer involved will help protect you from, because I can't imagine something worse, settling your own case and then finding out, oh, I was supposed to.
Right. That money goes back.
Hey, Uncle Sam's going to get his. So.